Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, Good Friday. It's Good Friday. I've been thinking a little bit because somebody asked, what does Good Friday mean? And it comes from the pious holy of the word good. Less common examples of expressions based on the obsolete sense of good, including the good book for the Bible, or Good Tide for the Christmas, or Shovatide, or Good Wednesday for the Holy Week. So I'm going to talk a little bit about good. And I have a hijab. In the Islam tradition, you would call this a hijab, but a head covering in the Christian tradition. And this is my second post from A Closer Walk with Thee. I was given a direction by God to really stand for doing this series. So today was another one, like, it's time to go on. And so here I am. I've lit my candle. Usually in the Christian church, the crucifixion, everything would be covered in black. A lot of black is worn in the Christian tradition. I'm going to put a couple of essential oils, and today I'm going to put frankincense and myrrh, which are in my biblical oils. Oiling and the Christian tradition is very rich throughout the tradition of Passover, or, oil was a very precious gift. And yesterday was Maud Thursday, where we wash the feet of each other and we walk closer to our brothers and sisters. So frankincense and myrrh will be the oils that I'll use today. And frankincense is just this really beautiful, holy protection. And then I've got my 3 wise men in as well. So they're biblical oils that I really used to protect. And of course, I'm going to use my gathering oil because we're gathering again, right? When we gather, we open ourselves to receive. We open ourselves in the receptivity. And if you're listening, thank you. If you want to share this out, thank you. If you want to give me hearts and mention in the comments, it would be really great what your thoughts are. My question for today is this: what is the relationship to the mother for you? What is that relationship? Because on Holy Friday and in Holy Week, Good Friday is this day where Jesus dies on the cross. We're opened up, and many people fast today in the Christian tradition. Many people really are quiet for most of the day. There's a lot of ideas around what was it like for the people around Jesus on this day and Good Friday. And of course we have Pesach. My friend Joel connected me with how I say, not Pesach, Pesach. Happy Pesach, the Seder dinner. I totally want to do some sort of celebratory moment tomorrow with the sacred for the Ukraine people. The Seder, the Pesach meal is so precious, of the exodus of the Jewish people. And as many of you know, Jesus is Jewish. And, as we move in the exodus of Ukraine, there's so many underpinnings and underlinings of the idea. When I first came into the church, I was deepening as a young child. I always walked through these doors, but Easter was a time where we went Easter Sunday. We put our bonnets on. With my kids, we always woke up at sunrise service. That was our service, and we gave a blessing to the outside of, the Easter light, the first Easter light. And it's a really precious time to wake up really early on Easter morning to celebrate the risen Christ, which in lieu of ideas, sun is rising, right? The sunshine, the sunlight of the Spirit is very rich through this weekend. But today is that solemn day, the solemn day where I want to step in. And my dad's favorite song was A Closer Walk with Thee. And I'm going to look it up on my phone for a minute because I couldn't find my hymnal. But A Closer Walk with Thee is um, a powerful idea around all traditions. What do we walk close to? What do we walk? Can't do two things at once. Hang on just a minute. A Closer Walk with Thee. Here's one by Willie Nelson. That's kind of nice. Let's watch that for a minute.
What if you could get rid of your kitchen?
See if you can hear it. I wonder if you can hear it.
Hey, I'm Matt from Pila, and I want to introduce you to my friend.
Here we go. By Willie Nelson. You know, let's just take the first couple words.
I am weak, but thou art strong. Jesus, keep me from all wrong.
It's pretty cool, huh?
I will be satisfied as long as I walk. Let me walk close to thee.
There we go. They might kick me off from this live for doing music, but that was Willie Nelson. And when we think about sadness or we think about ideas, I don't really think about Jesus getting, spikes in the hand. I do think about thorns a lot. He was put on the crowny thorn was put on his head. But mostly I think about the mother, and I think about what Mary and the women around him thought this day. I can't imagine watching my son die. It would be a very deep walk. So I thought I'd bring out the women's commentary. I have a women's commentary, biblical text. And let's look into what is that Easter vigil that you might walk. And I opened up to Lamentations, and it says the book of Lamentations is a heartbreaking cry of pain and grief for the survivors of a war. The book's sorrows echoes through the wars and the ages that stand in testimony to war's horror and futility. Women figure prominently in the book's description of wars, atrocities, and serve as symbols of the pain of the people. Because the poetry of Lamentations is particularly artful, it can gather up and give expression to sorrow and loss through the centuries. So the Babylonian invasion of Jerusalem lasted from 589 to 587, and there were many wars during that time. And through the ages, we're seeing war after war after war, and I didn't have this planned, right? I just went in my book shelf and this jumped out. Because the question at hand is, how is your relationship with your mother? And what do you see the mother? Do you see it as earth? Anybody that's not Christian, you can see this post as a deeper part of maybe that relationship to Mother Earth. And that I see it as the creativity within the feminine, that deeper uplift of the feminine, the question of the feminine and the walk beside how we interact with one another as women, how we relate to our mothers, how we relate to the solemn day of maybe you've lost a child. But for me, I look at the pictures of Ukraine and my heart cries out in lamentation of war. And my heart cannot move far from it because I feel the intertwining of continued war. And as the city and the pictures show, I remember the first day I saw Aleppo, and I saw it completely gone. And I just was in shock that anyone could do that to a city that has been built. What do we do in the midst of our family and our family relations? Um, I have a lot of feelings around my mom. I have a lot of feelings around addiction and the pain of having a mother in addiction. I have a lot of pain around my own personal addictions, I should say. And as we move into the depth of sorrow or grief or our own past, I talked about the on number one of this series. Yeah, I posted it a couple days ago, so you can go back either on my YouTube. I'd love you to say hi on my YouTube and subscribe so I can build a clientele a little bit more. That would be helpful. I don't like marketing myself. I'm not a big marketer, but it's helpful to speak that in my truth. Um, in it's just Lynn Chittick on YouTube. You can see a lot of videos there from all the events from Torch, the Organization for Realizing Change in Humanity, which many friends have engaged. Women taught me how to put the hijab on in the Islam tradition, and I love covering my head. This is a good day to keep a covering on. Not sure if I will. I will open to the next moment of time. Beyond the darkness, when you think about darkness or deeper walk with thee, when you think about your own inner darkness, I'm going to Bede Griffith. I was going through a deep relationship with my husband. It was probably 5 years of not feeling attracted to my husband. It's really painful because I really loved him. It wasn't about a lack of love. And I posted this, my deeper walk with love, to find love. And Bede Griffith came to me through a gentleman through Kripalu, and he paid a trip to go to a 40-day silent retreat. A 40-day silent retreat where I could go in and discern my marriage, where I could go in as a mother with 4 kids at that point and discern my relationship to God, to myself, to a relationship. Bede Griffith was also a guru in the Hindu tradition and a priest in the Benedictine tradition. And the Catholic tradition has many different traditions: Benedictine, Franciscans. I'm a Franciscan. I wear my Franciscan cross. And my Easter vigils all these years has been rich with the Orthodox Church. So this Easter vigil, I'm thinking a lot about Ukraine, because I've been at the Ukraine services for years. I always went to the Easter vigil at an Orthodox church because the ritual is so present and so beautiful, and the frankincense moves throughout the church as a cleansing for everyone, as a depth for everyone. There'll be many readings at the Orthodox Church today. There'll be hours of service everywhere. The cathedral will have a service at 2:00 here in San Francisco. I'm hoping to go. And it's an online service, so you're welcome to join me. I think I'm feeling the depth of what is the creation of sorrow and grief in the midst of war. But also, when you look at the 4 pillars: peace, health, environment, and tech, your inner peace, your inner environment, your inner health, and your inner technology, the inner has to come out to the outer in order for us to feel that deeper parts of ourselves of love. Love is a preciousness. And I posted the post, and so many guys are coming, sending me flowers or sending me this. Love has many different meanings. And a mother's love has many different meanings. It has a familial love. It has a sexual love for a husband. It has a deeper love for the community and at large. It has a deeper love for God itself. It has a deeper love within the sacred and the holy and the gifts of the holy. So I'm going to leave that. It's going to be a short one today because we'll go through the Triduum. We call this the Triduum, the 3 days of Easter. Today is the first day of the Triduum. Last night, the holy oils, the biblical oils were blessed yesterday morning in the church, and they're used throughout the year for those that are sick or those that are dying. And as some of you know, I just helped a woman pass and I gave her the blessings. I put oil on and gave her the blessings. I didn't know what tradition they were, but she died within a couple of hours, and it was good for me to do a blessing of someone passing in the last couple of weeks, because for me it's that sacred into death. And when Jesus dies, the last thing I'll leave you with today is he said, they do not know. They do not know. Please, God, they do not know what they do. And I've often thought of that throughout my own personal life. I hope you think about those words today. I hope you find your own closer walk, whatever it is. It's not about a religion, it's about this deeper part of ourselves, to find that deep walk. Those 40 days of silence for me were one of the most sacred places and times that I could have ever done for myself. It was rich and hard, really hard, and a lot of tears and a lot of grief and a lot of sorrow. I wrote a story during that time. I don't know where it is, but it's the funny part is that I had a covering on our storybook, and I drew the woman with a covering. And years later, here I am and working with a lot of people from the Muslim tradition, and it's Ramadan, so happy Ramadan Mubarak to all those practicing the 30 days of fast, and the happy Pesach for those celebrating the Pesach, the Jews escaping from horrific things. And we see that today with all the people in the exodus of Ukraine. And we can go back for eons and look at all the people that have been hurt and wounded and suffering and having to leave their home. And I was one of those women. I had to leave my home in 2008 due to a domestic violence starting in 2003, 2002, really. I was pregnant. My daughter was born in October, but in 5 months pregnant, I had bruises on my body and my face. It's a long journey of leaving and exiting of a really hard, difficult time. It's nothing like war, but it's an internal war for me. It was an internal struggle. So for this 30 days, there's going to be like this walk with a closer walk with thee. I'm going to just keep this going for a while and see what I feel, see what I'm opening to, see what I'm engaging with, see what I'm embracing with the kindness and the emptiness of letting myself hunger, letting myself feel the hunger of life, letting myself feel the exodus in my own personal journey, and letting myself feel the Holy Week, the cross. And many of you have seen this on the first day. This is one of my favorite crosses because you can't do it alone. You need to reach out to others to help you with your own cross. And I think I left Buddhism pretty much for that reason. Buddhist path is wonderful, but it was an individual path, and I wanted a community path. And I stayed with the Christian tradition because it's very community oriented. We say in the tradition that you don't do it alone. You do it with others. And there's a lot of healing to be done in the church. There's a lot of needs to be opening. And so for this holy weekend, holy start of the Triduum, I pray for all of you to have the peace and question your own personal walk, and question what that relationship is to the mother. It can be your own personal mother, it can be a grandmother, it can be grandmothers, it can be women, it can be that deeper creativity of the mother, and see what walk maybe your mother took, or your grandmothers took, or your great grandmothers took. They're really big to look back to. So, on this solemn day of grief, the people that have lost their homes in Ukraine, I pray for you. I have deep tears for you. I have deep, solemn sadness for you. And you will pull up out. You will find your way. I had to go from a 5-bedroom house to a little room, and my daughter and I had to move in 2 months and move to another room. And we only lived in a room, and then we moved to a tiny apartment, and then we moved to a 1-bedroom. So she and I shared a bedroom. And then we finally got our 2-bedroom, but it took, 2008, 9, 10, 11, 3 years to get a 2-bedroom. So she had her own bedroom. And I remember her joy and her witness. And in 2010, I lost my home back there, that my 5-bedroom home, because the taxes hadn't gotten paid and people pulled out of renting. And that was my retirement. And so there's been a great loss and exodus out of Freeville, New York. But somebody mentioned yesterday, you were free. You were free because you spoke up for another human being, and I protected my daughter from being hurt. And that was my exodus. And you protected your family by leaving Ukraine. And thank you for protecting your family, if you're listening. Any mother protects her own. My greatest gift is my mother bear. And you've got to watch out when my mother bear comes out. She is fierce and she protects her own. So bless you during this day. Good Friday. Okay? Love you all so much. Be of peace.